So we're discussing the language of the get, but the language of the get is of course closely connected to how the get is signed, is written out, and how it's sent. And so as we go through this ninth chapter of Gittin, of the tractate of divorce, the Mishnah is really interested in all kinds of edge cases in which the writing and the sending and the language are all connected. And of course, we need to remember the principle that the witnesses have to sign at the bottom of the get, at the bottom of the bill of divorce. So if and we've said it's because of tikkun olam, because in order to repair the world, if there's some problem with the get, we need to be able to get hold of the witnesses, and that means they have to have their names on the document. So here we start off with a situation where they sign identical documents. Shnaim sheshilchu shnei gitim shavim. So two men sent two identical bills of divorce, two identical gittin. Maybe the diversity of name in that time wasn't so great. So maybe both of them were called, I don't know, Fred, son of John. And maybe both of them were married to someone called Mary. And if they live in the same town. So if there were two people called Fred, son of John, married to Mary, who lived in the same town, you can imagine that two men could send out two identical gittin. And remember, all this might well be done via a scribe or via a shaliach, via a messenger. And so particularly, and then maybe the messenger can't read very well, we haven't got, if you like, barcoded post. So it's possible, particularly with the messengers, that something could get mixed up. And that's the case the Mishnah is interested in, first of all. Two identical gittin were sent out, but they got mixed up. Shnaim sheshilchu shnei gittin shavim. They sent out two identical gittin. Venit arvu. They got mixed up. What are we going to do? Because we know that the bill of divorce has to be written out for the person concerned. It's got to be written for the person concerned. So what are we going to do? Noten shnehem lezo, ushnehem lezo. We're going to give both documents to this wife and both documents to that wife. Clearly, we need to get them back from the first wife. We're going both to one and both to the other. And usually that seems to work. But the Mishnah observes, Im avad echad mehem, hare hasheni batel. If one of them is lost, then the other becomes void. Remember, in this situation, we don't know which is which. So we don't know which get is destined for which woman. The two work as a pair, but one of them does not work individually because we don't really know who it's intended to. However, they are valid documents. In principle, they're valid documents. What if we play a slightly different tack? So 5 men wrote in the same get as a general statement. Ish ploni mogaresha plonit ufloni leflonit. So and so divorces so and so, and so and so, and so and so. And presumably there's a list of 5 pairs of so and so's in this get. Ve'aidim milamata, and the witnesses have written their names below. The witnesses are below. Kulan kshirim, they're all kasher. Ve'inaten l'chol achat ve'achat, and the get is to be given to each one. So presumably we're saving paper here. And the witnesses must be putting their names. The witnesses must be putting their names under each pair of names. So each pair of names has a formula, and it's got a set of witnesses that sign. So they're each valid. They happen to be on the same piece of paper, but just as two bills of divorce can be given to two women, this one bill of divorce could be given to 5 women, and they each get their part of it, so to speak. Let's say he wrote out the formula for each one. Ve'ha'edim milamatan. The witnesses are right the way below. So the witnesses are right at the bottom. In the first example, the Mishnah says, Ve'ha'edim milamata. The witnesses below in the singular. And now we have Ve'edim milamatan in the plural. The witnesses are right at the bottom of everything. So we don't know necessarily which witness applies to which get, because you have a string of 5 divorces and a string of 5 sets of witnesses. So the Mishnah rules, et sheha'edim nikra'in imor kasher. The bottom one, the bottom one, the one with which the signatures are read. So out of this list of 5 bills of divorce, the bottom one will have witnesses right below it. And that one is valid, but the other 4 aren't. So the Mishnah is teaching us essentially that the signatures of the witnesses have to be connected to the language of the get. And this seems fine so far when we've just got one scroll of writing. But what if remember, paper is scarce in those days. And what if we've got a scroll with 2 bills of divorce, one written in each column? And we'll jump in the Mishnah in a sec, but I just wanted to show you a picture, if you like, of a 2-column document. This is in Excel, Microsoft Excel. I wrote it very quickly. But you can see all the language in the right column and all the language in the left column. And we have word processors. We can design documents like this. And of course, they have scribes who write in columns. So it's easy to write one get in the right column and one get in the left column. There's no difficulty about that. And then we have the signatures below. So look, I've given you a Hebrew signature here. Yaakov ben Yochanan Chotam Ka'ed. So Jacob, the son of Yochanan, has signed, and so has Gittin ben Yehoshua, and he signed from right to left because he writes Hebrew. And James, the son of John, and Fred, the son of Hugh, also sign, but they write in Greek. So they write from left to right. And because people who write have bigger handwriting than scribes who are trained to write in small letters and to be economical about their use of parchment, that names actually spill over both columns. So that is the question the Mishnah is going to address. What are we going to do when we've got bills of divorce written out in 2 columns and the signatures are spilling over? So if we see now the picture, let's just jump into the Mishnah. Shnei Gittin shekatvan ze v'zad ze. So 2 bills of divorce written side by side. Shnei idim ivrim ba'im mitachat ze l'tachat ze. And there are 2 witnesses in Hebrew who go from under one to under the other. In other words, the signature runs right across the parchment. Really interesting, the Mishnah is describing exactly this situation, which we can imagine from Microsoft Excel. And there are 2 more witnesses. Shnei edim yevanim ba'in mitachat ze l'tachat ze. There are 2 Greek witnesses who come from under this one to under that one, i.e., there's 2 Greek signatures as well. But remember, we want to keep the signatures connected to the get. The signatures have to be connected to the bill of divorce. So the Mishnah rules, et sheha edim harishonim nikra'im imor kasher. The one in which the first signatures, the two first signatures are read is valid. So remember, when we had five bills of divorce, written out one after the other in the same document, with all the witnesses below, only the bottom bill of divorce, i.e. the one connected to the top signature, was valid. Here, we've got these two bills of divorce, left and right, but only the one related to the top signatures is going to be valid, because this is the get whose language is connected to his signatures. So in this case, it's going to be the right-hand get. So we've got a right-hand signature clearly connected to the right-hand column. So the right-hand get is going to be valid. But we have a problem with the left one. We have a problem with the left one because the signatures are not below it. We got two signatures. We don't really know to whom these signatures belong. Are they part of the right-hand get, or are they part of the left-hand get? Are they signing in Greek because they're attesting to the document in the left column, or are they signing in Greek just because they write Greek? We have no idea. But we're going to read this, if you like, mechanically and strictly. So when we're reading down the get, we're going to grab the first signature and we're going to attach it to whatever bill of divorce is right above it. Let's get back to the Mishnah and let's see how the thinking of the Mishnah develops. So we've said the one with which the first two signatures are read is valid. Et sha'edim harishonim nikrim kashimo kasher. The get that we can attach to the first signature works. Okay, let's keep that in mind. Let's keep going. Ed echad ivri ve'ed echad yevani. So there's one signature in Hebrew and there's one signature in Greek. And then ed echad yevani ve'ed echad ivri. Then there's one signature in Greek and one signature in Hebrew. So we're mixing up the directions of the text here. And the signatures are stretching across. So the same situation here, but rather than Hebrew, Greek, we got Hebrew, Greek. So we got one starting on the right and one starting on the left, and then one starting on the right and one starting on the left. And the signatures are stretching right across both get documents. And if we know the principle that the signature has to be connected to the get, the language of the divorce document has to be connected to the signature, we can just imagine that if we had this right, left situation, the get cannot possibly work. And this is how the Mishnah concludes, Shnei hen pusulin. Both are invalid. If we can't figure out which signature belongs to which bill of divorce, then the bill of divorce as a whole doesn't work.